introduction to the book Activating the Non-Dual Codex. So as we continue to live, work, socialize, and sometimes just sit in silence if you choose to, there is just one existential question that we assume to have found a satisfying answer to. So now there is no harm in revisiting this particular question again after all these years. That question would be, who am I beneath all these names I have, the roles, memories, and fleeting emotions? Now, not all of you are motivated or have enough reasons to revisit this question, but if you do, there is no harm whatsoever in revisiting this particular question, that who are you beneath your roles, names, memories, and all the emotions, which are valid, of course. Now, spiritual traditions across cultures have pointed toward a field of realization where this question dissolves, not because it is answered conceptually, but because the need itself to ask the question, who am I, it fades away eventually. Now, this is that point of self realization or nirvana. Now, this book, Activating the Non-Dual Codex, it is an offering to that possibility that each of us is capable of awakening to a direct experience of reality beyond the mind, beyond division, and beyond the veil of conditioned self-perception. Conditioned is basically a believed way of understanding ourselves. Some of it is true and some of it is just an anchor which holds very strong to that surface of ego. And how do we disengage this particular misidentity to find that absolute freedom in this lifetime? So at the heart of this awakening lies this self-realization field. We'll discuss this further. I'll show you an image as well. So there is a field of self-realization each of us has. It is a subtle and ever-present domain of awareness that is not separate from who you are. It is not a destination, but it is just a recognition or realization that this field exists. The moment you see that there is this field of self-realization, it's the moment where you unify yourself with everything. You see your consciousness, which is not just this body-mind complex, but everything as well is included in this field of self-realization. So it is not a destination, but it's a recognition. So that the non-dual codex discussed in this book refers to a subtle architecture within human awareness that's always available yet often dormant. When activated, it enables a radical shift from the fragmented sense of identity to one rooted in presence, clarity, and unity. An identity which is no more a narration you have about you being just this biological creature and a being with a story, with a role to play. So now that is true for all of us. To some extent, to whatever degree you desire, you take your role. But the only identity which matters is the one rooted in this clarity that you are representing. And also, of course, we are that one source of creation. What is non-duality? So the whole idea here, the philosophical, if you want to see in terms of philosophy, because you have a philosophy, that is duality. Subject object is your philosophy, which is true at one level, but we need to understand this duality, that the witnessing you, the you itself, it's a question who's the you witness, and of course there is always an object which you're aware of. This is a basic level of duality, and of course depending on your temperament, you might talk duality in terms of me and the God, a relationship between you and God, a relationship between you and the higher force. Or if you are a simple naturalist, you would say me and the world. In any case, so non-duality, or the original term, is Advaita Vedanta. It is the understanding that all apparent divisions between self and other, subject and object, body and mind, are illusions that arise from your conceptual thought. So non-duality is not the opposite of duality, but it is a transcendence. So duality will continue to exist. That is, there is always two things. There is you and the experience. So, but you will clearly see who is the you aspect in it and what is the other aspect. Both are same with different quality and different purpose. It is the seeing that while duality may appear in the foreground of experience, it arises within a background that is indivisible. Screen, the analogy which many of us talk about in this particular philosophy, is we have a screen and things play on that screen. Whatever that plays on the screen is nothing but the screen itself appearing as all these forms. Right? So it is a background, an indivisible background, which we call as pure consciousness, and that is our true nature. So, and yet this is not an abstract philosophy. While we try to communicate with each other what the nature of reality is, the term we use is philosophy. Once you experience it, it is no more a philosophy for you. It is not a theory you believe in. It is a lived, felt realization. Non-duality can be known directly not through effort, but through deep receptivity. And the key lies in recognizing that this truth is already coded within your being. All you have to do is recognize. So your mind needs to be purified and aligned to observe the reality for what it is, without a preconceived notion or a layer of concepts. You might conceptualize the behavior of the world, no denial about it, but you have an ability to witness the world without this layer of concepts. So now that is where this book is making an attempt to guide you to this non-conceptual dimension or a presence in you. So this book calls that inner map, which I call the non-dual codex. Now, what is the general meaning of this term codex? So the word codex typically refers to an ancient manuscript or a system of knowledge written in symbolic or structural form. In the context of spiritual awakening, the non-dual codex represents an innate ability or an innate system of intelligence within the human psyche or the awareness. It is a blueprint that quietly organizes the journey from a limited identity that is rooted in your memory and which leads to ego, towards an expansive identity, as I mentioned, the identity which is rooted in consciousness, pure witnessing of every experience. So, unlike external codes of teaching, the non dual codex is internal, very experiential, and it is self revealing. It does not need to be learned but uncovered. It cannot be accessed by the intellect alone. You cannot just make use of the intellect to an extent. When you start the journey, we make use of the intellect, especially in this path of the non dual awakening. So, intellect is a very important component. Along with that, it is extremely important that you should be able to see that quiet, still space within you. That is, when you're transparent and quiet, your instrument, your body will become the gateway to activate the non dual codex. So, this codex becomes active when certain inner alignments take place, when specific emotional, intellectual, motivational, and perceptual layers of human experience begins to resonate in harmony. While this book honors the scientific method of inquiry and it acknowledges the immense contribution of technological advancement, for you are watching this video because of the technological advancement. So all of these is being acknowledged by me. It also points, more importantly, to a deeper need, that is a fundamental rewind in how we understand the subject of all investigation. That is, you are the subject who have engineered this world. So the dualistic framework, where the observer is seen as separate from the observed, has its place in building models of this world. So, but the deeper transformation begins when the observer turns inward and recognizes their nature as the awareness itself. So, this journey does not require a drama, a doctrine, a followership. So, it simply invites a return to silence, and the kind of silence where inner noise settles and a natural intelligence begins to emerge. In this silence, every needed guidance and wisdom becomes consciously accessible, not from outside, but from the ground of your own being, which is always available. So, this is a general model. It is a tetrahedron, that is, it has four outside points and equilateral triangles on all the sides. And in the center of this is the main node, which I call the identity node or the I am. Once you address this particular node and you realize your identity as consciousness without a conceptual framework, you even get rid of this tetrahedron model. Initially, the intellect aspect of you is made use of to recognize or to navigate that mental construct to reach the core of your identity. So this can truly work. You might understand conceptually, but it will truly work only if you are silent. You allow your instrument, the body, in parallel. You breathe, you relax the body, and you observe what is the true identity. And then you witness all these four notes, that is basically you. Analyze the emotions you have, which I call the harmonic emotions which are in harmony with the aligned identity or an awakened identity of consciousness, and you make use of a crystal node. I will talk about it. That is your intelligence. The flame core is you set your desire to the highest, and the matter matrix. You make use of the physical world to confirm your place in this physical world and what is your relationship with the physical experiences. You confirm it with an aligned identity. So this book introduces a tetrahedral model to symbolize the architecture of awakening. A tetrahedron, it is the simplest 3D structure with four interconnected phases, becomes the perfect symbol for representing the four nodes of the non-dual codex. So the first node is the harmonic emotions. And so this node reflects the emotional body when it is attuned to peace, allowing emotions to arise and dissolve without resistance. When emotions are in harmony, they support the clarity of consciousness rather than clouding it. And the crystal node is the intellect. So, at its most transparent state, our intellect functions not as a judge or just an analyzer, but it becomes a sharp mirror, a clean mirror that reflects the truth of your own existence, of you and the world. This is the mind in alignment with awareness. So, your mind has aligned with awareness when your intellect is pure. So, and it is free from distortion or self-referencing to the memories or the rigid beliefs you have. All of this will be dissolved and your intellect will function like a mirror that is reflecting truth every moment. Matter matrix is, as I said, it is just the physical world. So rather than being a distraction, so it is seen as a pure consciousness in form. This node acknowledges that every object, sensation, and event is a doorway back to the formless, and if witnessed without mental interference, it will guide you to awakening. And the flame core is the highest desire. So the inner fire of yearning with every human being experience union, purpose, and the mystery of life. And also the happiness we seek is, you just don't have to limit happiness to few forms in the events and activities. You can desire for the highest form of happiness. Highest form of happiness is when you realize that union. So now this node drives the seeker towards this wholeness. It is not worldly ambition, but the soul's pull toward its source. And at the center of these four nodes lies the I am, the core identity. Now, this sense of self can either reflect pure being or, when distorted by ego, can create a gravitational pull that entangles the nodes into reactive pattern. So the four nodes which are yearning to reach that self-realization field is contracted towards this gravity which is created by the ego, and the I am is always attached to one or the other role quite intimately, to an extent where you are always limited and the four nodes will never be experienced as it is. So when the I am is taken over by memory-based identity, the codex remains dormant. The nodes stay trapped in habitual pattern that serve survival but not the awakening. So why this book and why now? So this book is a systematic unfolding of how to align the mind, body and emotional field in such a way that the non-dual codex is not only understood but directly felt. The part 1 is designed to work with the mind, specifically the concepts you have, the studying the emotional patterns and the unconscious tendencies we have to limit ourselves. So it builds this clarity and motivation while exposing the subtle structures of identity that obscure direct awareness. Part 2 moves deeper into the body-mind complex, working with the foundational beliefs and the somatic imprints, which basically, your body holds these unconscious beliefs as well, that maintain the constant separation between you and the other. It invites a sincere and embodied inquiry into the very experience of being alive, making space for the codex to activate not just intellectually, as I've said, but energetically and emotionally. Another important aspect of this book is the activating the codex through any node. A unique insight that is presented in this book is that engaging deeply with any one node of the tetrahedron can initiate this reaction, a chain reaction, a causal reaction among other three nodes. When one of these nodes is brought into presence and released from its entanglement with the limited identity, the others begin to align. For example, cultivating a harmonic emotion through non-resistance naturally clears a mental space in the crystal node. You're more available for the current moment, and your intellect is functioning non-emotionally. It is more objective to analyze and awaken to the nature of who you are. That is basically realizing the self-realization field which we talk about. So it can be accessed much more easily if you simply take care of one. In this example, we are talking about the emotions. So deep contemplation of the mystery and the flame core reorients how we interact with mathematics. So the correlation between how we align our highest desire and how we interact with the physical world. So these two fall in place if you just take care of your core desire, and how you look at this moment right now. If your desire is to truly experience the world as it is, so to see that highest union without a mental narration, you will experience the physical world quite intimately. So now this systematic intelligence is the very structure of the non-dual codex. So it works holistically. You do not need to master all areas at once. So you only need to bring that sincere attention to one doorway. One of these nodes is a doorway, and remain available to what unfolds once you dive deep into these nodes. In this way, the book becomes a field guide, an inner map, and a living meditation. It is not about attaining enlightenment, but this is about recognizing that what you are looking for has always been silently present beneath the noise of your mind. With all the distractions, if you stop, you see beneath it, at the foundation, is this enlightenment waiting for you. Now let this be a gentle but a firm invitation to return to the natural, unedited clarity of your own being. The non-dual codex is not far, it is your nature, waiting not to be achieved but simply remembered. So we will start chapter 1 in the next video. And until then, as I say, stay open, stay present. It is extremely simple. Thank you.